In today's video, I'm going to walk you through my trading watch list and review trades that we took last week. If this is your first time here, you're right on time, so smash that subscribe button and stick with us in our 2026 trading journey. This is Chido FX. Let's get into the video. So, the various pair cut CHF. This is a pair that we took last week. We had our confluences, weekly bullish, daily bullish. We're at the area of interest and rejecting weekly area of interest in this candlestick. We're also rejecting from the previous structure point in the weekly area of interest. We're also rejecting from the daily area of interest and the daily round psychological level 0.57600. But with all these confluences, we still were short in the trade. So this trade we're expecting to buy at the next bullish engulfing candlestick. So we're bullish on the daily area of interest. Let's go down to the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, we were still a little bit bearish, but I wanted to take this trade on the first bullish engulfing candlestick above this zone. So we took the trade and it was a 1 to 3.29 restore ratio, and it was a loss because we did not follow the plan. We did not wait for the shift of structure and we did not wait for the entry. So that's why we took that loss, and it's all on me. So moving on to the next pair. Here we have AUD-CHF. We're supposed to take this trade on the break and the retest, but we only broke when we did not retest this zone. So we're looking to buy again when it reaches this zone, since on the daily area of interest it just broke above this weekly area of interest in the round psychological level of 0.53000. So we're expecting it to come back down around here while this EMA comes up right here. So we wait for the shift of structure and we take the trade next. So let's move on to our next pair. So moving on to GU, this is one of my favorite pairs for this week. So basically, weekly we're bullish and we've already created a weekly bullish candlestick. We are at the area of interest and we're rejecting that area of interest on the weekly. However, on the daily, we are still bearish, and so this means that we do not have two time frames in sync. What we need for a trade to be perfect, we need the weekly to be bullish and we need the daily to be bullish as well. But since we are bearish on the daily and still we are bullish on the 4 hour, this only means that we do not have any time frames in sync, and this is the major thing that we need for all our trading pairs. When we are trading, we need at least two time frames in sync, and this is just not in sync. In sync, we mean these two time frames, at least the weekly and the daily, should be bullish, or the daily and the 4 hour should also be bullish for us to take the trade. So taking this trade will be a very high risk trade as well. But since we're creating a bullish engulfing on the candlestick, we're covering this candlestick and we're also covering this candlestick. It could be worth the risk, but breaking the plan is not what we're trying to do this week. So yeah, we're just going to wait and see how it plays out. On the 4 hour, we're shifting our structure. All we want is for price to retest this zone and carry us through to this zone. This will be our take profit. This trade, I'm only going to be watching it and see what happens when the daily stays bearish while the weekly is bullish, as well as the 4 hour is bearish. The other thing that could happen is the daily could reject this zone, proceeding back to the weekly area of interest number 2. This is why we're not going to be taking this trade. So anything can happen with GBP USD. Moving on to the next trade, we have NZD-USD. On NZD-USD, we have two time frames in sync. The weekly is bearish and the daily is also bearish. So what I like the most about this pair is that we have a head and shoulders pattern on the daily. We have the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. And now we are retesting that neckline that we broke, the head and shoulders neckline that we broke on the daily area of interest, and we're also rejecting the daily EMA. So this could be a good trade to take. Let's move down to the 4 hour. As we're moving down to the 4 hour time frame, the 4 hour time frame right now is currently bullish. So for us to take this trade, the 4 hour time frame may be bullish since we already have two time frames, which are the two higher time frames, and the higher the time frame, the better the trend. So maybe what I would need is for a 4 hour candlestick bearish engulfing up to this zone. In that engulfing candlestick, there will be a shift of structure on the 2 hour or maybe on the 1 hour time frame where we shift our structure to shift bearish and get a bearish engulfing candlestick. So here the 1 hour looks more cleaner and more easier to take the shift on structure. So what I would need is for the 1 hour to come, shift, and then move to the downside. Here the EMA could be moving like this so that we reject this zone as well as getting the shift of structure on the 1 hour. So it could be a good trade and we'll keep watching it and see how it goes. So moving on to Euro GBP, this is one of the pairs that I will be looking at this week, but we're not yet at the weekly area of interest. We're only bearish, and we're also bearish on the daily time frame. So we're just waiting for price to come to this weekly area of interest. Maybe we will reject from it, or maybe we'll keep going up, but I'm pretty sure this pair is going down right now because we are creating a downtrend, and this is just the middle of the downtrend. We do not know where we're going to stop going down. So let's move on to the next pair. Next pairs we have Euro USD. This pair is more like the GBP USD as we are bullish on the weekly and we're also bullish on the 4 hour time frame, but we're bearish on the daily time frame. So on the weekly time frame, it's a perfect bullish structure. We are rejecting the weekly area of interest and we are also waiting for price to reject this right here. We are also rejecting the previous structure point, which is a good thing. So if we go down to the daily time frame, you see that this is a zone where price was acting as a support or as a resistance. So support, resistance, resistance, support, support, support. And even if we go down to the left, way back to the 2025s, we're going to see this is a really strong zone. So right now we are rejecting off of that zone with a bullish engulfing candlestick, but we're still going to wait for the daily candlestick to close to see how that candlestick closes. Again, we're not going to be trading this, we're only going to be watching it and see how it plays out since we do not have two time frames in sync. Remember, two time frames in sync are either the daily bullish or the 4 hour is also bullish, or we have the weekly bullish and the daily also bullish. But right now we only have the weekly bullish and the daily which is bearish, so it's not a good trade to risk in, but it's a good trade to watch and see how the market plays out since Euro USD and GBP USD are having the same structure. Okay, so let's move down to the Euro AUD. So in this trade is also one of the trades that we're just going to be watching this week. We are at the weekly low. We also just need a minor pullback into this area of interest. Not really interesting, so I'm just going to move the pair down here. I'm also going to move CHF down here, since it's not really an interesting pair that we're looking at. So for the last pair that we're going to be analyzing, that is AUD-USD. We're still bullish on AUD, and on the daily time frame we are also bullish. So we're rejecting this weekly area of interest, and we're also creating a daily bullish candlestick. So what we're going to be needing on the 4-hour is a pullback, which is already kind of happening. So we're going to need a pullback into this little zone right here, and that means we're going to also be retesting this EMA as price comes down here. So we're just going to wait for a bullish candlestick right here, and that is how we're going to enter this trade. And we're going to put our stops just below here, and our take profit is going to be here. So that's going to be a solid 123.87. So this is one of my favorite pairs for this week, so we're going to be watching it. AUD-USD. So please watch out for more of this trade, and please stick to the plan. Do not be like me, do not have FOMO, do not jump into trades. Follow the plan and you get to see a profit more and more each and every day. Alright, thank you for watching. We're going to see you next in our next video. So please don't forget to hit the notification bell. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button and stick with us in our 2026 trading journey. Thank you.